So this is the nor'easter in question. You can see it occupying much of the Midwest and into the Northeast. So this will be the overall positioning progged for the morning of Thursday, October 30th. So this is the overall position of this system. It will undergo more intensification as it moves up to the Northeast and interacts more aggressively with Hurricane Melissa. So this is our system in question. Okay, so paying attention to Hurricane Melissa, that's this little spiderweb looking feature that we could see at the bottom right of your screen, currently turning violently as a Category 5 hurricane at the time of this posting, October 28th, over Jamaica. It will eventually find its way into eastern Cuba. So for anybody in the path of this hurricane, we offer our thoughts and prayers to you, especially for you folks in Jamaica. We hope everything will be okay for you. We know it's a catastrophic situation, historically so, and we're hoping that everybody will get out of this safely. So continue to listen to all of the critical alerts that come your way and do your best to take shelter and get through this in one piece. Further into the week, into October 29th, into October 30th, you start to see this other area of low pressure. It's starting to develop quite rapidly across the US Southeast and Midwest, but it starts to have some interaction with Hurricane Melissa as it travels up the North Atlantic. And you can actually see that interaction becoming more obvious as we reach October 30th into October 31st. It becomes more like a double-barreled area of low pressure. And as that happens, as this interaction happens, this area of low pressure, which does eventually become or takes on a nor'easter, a fall version of a nor'easter, it does start to draw in or channel this moisture and it will amplify that intensification rate. So we do see more rigorous cyclogenesis appearing in this area, in this region altogether. So as we go further into Halloween, October 31st, you see, sorry, we'll go back to October 31st right there. Yeah, so you can actually see this system, this nor'easter, is actually very much invigorated, and it is a very intense system at about under 984 millibars at this point. So it can actually go through bombogenesis, if you ever heard that term, where a low pressure system undergoes rapid intensification to the point that it drops 24 millibars at least or more within a 24-hour period. So this is a contender for a bomb cyclone. So we'll have to see how this actually evolves as we go further. But for the time being, the models are in pretty good agreement as to the intensification rate of this system going into Halloween, especially, and into November 1st. This will amplify the wind fields in this sort of system as it starts to move up to the northeast, and it will help to usher in Arctic air across much of the east, and this will help set the stage for below average temperatures as we start November. So this is actually in line with my prediction for a colder than normal start to November. And for those of you interested in my fall, winter 2025-2026 predictions, as well as spring, summer 2026, feel free to check this link out at the top right. It's a pretty comprehensive review of what we could expect across North America. So feel free to check that out. This is the polar jet stream, so at the 300 millibar altitude. So I use the 300 millibar altitude since the atmosphere is actually a bit more compressed since it is generally colder. So this is a better representation. So the polar jet stream is manifested by these blues and purple colors on your screen. So you can actually see that. This is for October 29th, pre-dawn period. So let's go really towards October 30th. So you can see this trough, this sort of U-shaped pattern in the jet stream, the polar jet stream. So this is what a neutral position looks like in general. But as we go farther, watch how this trough starts to bend towards the right, indicating a negatively tilted positioning. So when you see this, it does tend to represent rigorous cyclogenesis throughout the troposphere and especially at the surface. So our surface low, our nor'easter, is actually getting invigorated by this energy. So as this trough becomes more and more negatively tilted, as you can see, as we go farther into Halloween, later October 30th into October 31st, and then this surface low, our nor'easter, is intensifying in the process. And meanwhile, it is at the same time drawing energy from what is Hurricane Melissa in the Atlantic. So that's represented by this little blob over here. And I can just backtrack. You can see where Hurricane Melissa is over eastern Cuba. And then as it travels up, so there's Hurricane Melissa as it travels up the Atlantic, it does start to lend support to our nor'easter here as it channels more and more energy with ongoing intensification. And this does help to amplify the local rainfall amounts in the Northeast. So this will be something we'll have to watch, this interaction between Melissa and our nor'easter. Okay, so looking at our 24-hour precipitation accumulations, so it's measured in inches So these brighter colors represent higher amounts of 24-hour precipitation accumulations. So let's go into October 30th a little bit further. So right now we are in the morning of October 30th. You are seeing the larger areas starting to get engulfed by these colors. The brighter colors represent the highest rates, again in inches, and you are seeing that spread even farther northeast as we go into Halloween itself, October 31st. And in particular, we are seeing the largest amounts appearing in upstate New York, or accumulations of about 2 to even as much as 3, just over 3 inches near Watertown, New York, seeing a huge amount of precipitation there, rainfall specifically, in that region over October 30th to October 31st. So that is something I think that will generate local flooding in some of these areas, especially upstate New York, and then creeping up into southern southwest Quebec as well, like around Saint Anisette and going towards the Ontario-Quebec border. We are seeing total amounts nearing 2.5 inches. So that is quite sizable. And then going northeast towards Quebec City, just northeast of Quebec City in the St. Lawrence, the mouth of the St. Lawrence, going farther northeast, we are seeing rates near 3 inches as well, 2.5 to 3 inches. So, and even across the eastern seaboard, along Long Island, for example, and going east into Rhode Island, we're seeing these larger amounts. So this is really an easy 1 to 3 inch event over a 24-hour period. And this is not the only amounts, since the rainfall itself will continue to stick around right into early November 1st. So this is a large amount of rain in a small period of time. So this will provoke some local flooding, especially in low-lying areas, urbanized settings, etc. And during the late evening of October 31st, Halloween, and parts of southern Quebec, I think, and going up to central Quebec, we could see a rain-snow mix briefly making an appearance in those areas, especially in elevated terrain. That's pretty much characteristic of this region, so we will have to look out for that as well. So this is a pretty significant situation. I think these rainfall rates are largely the result of Hurricane Melissa, the interaction with Hurricane Melissa, driving up these totals and amplifying the cyclogenesis behind this overall system. So it is something to be watchful for. It is a sharp contrast to what we've been really seeing this month, which was realistically sunny and dry. So, and behind it, as I mentioned, Arctic air will be getting in. So that will be the driver for the first week of November, driving colder than normal temperatures across much of the eastern portion of the continent before temperatures start to rebound and go back up into warmer than normal status. This nor'easter really starts to intensify quickly. It will help to drive these strong westerly west-northwest winds during the late evening of Halloween into pre-dawn November 1st. So it's important to secure any loose objects that might be out there, especially Halloween decor that may be around the property. So it is important to take note on that and to prevent things from flying all over the place very easily and therefore becoming very hazardous. So this is also something that we need to monitor for that time frame. That is pretty much the situation for October 30th to November 1st, affected by this very potent system across the Northeast and Eastern Canada. Once again, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. We'll keep monitoring the situation, of course, for any track changes, but the models are pretty much in agreement with the overall evolution of the system and its characteristics altogether. So there is pretty high confidence that this system will be quite impactful for these regions. So until then, I'll see you in the next video and we will continue again monitoring this situation very carefully. Cheers!